Very, very dreadfully nervous I had been and am. But why will you say that I am mad? Hearken and observe how healthily, how calmly I can tell you the whole story. It's impossible to say how first the idea entered my brain, but once conceived, it haunted me day and night. Object there was none, passion there was none. I loved the old man. I think it was his eye. Yes, it was this. He had the eye of a vulture, a pale blue eye with a film over it. Whenever it fell upon me, my blood ran cold, and so by degrees, very gradually, I made up my mind to take the life of the old man, and thus rid myself of the eye forever. You fancy me mad, but madmen know nothing. You should have seen me. You should have seen how wisely I proceeded, with what caution, with what foresight, with what dissimulation I went to work. And every night, about midnight, I turned the latch of his door and opened it, oh, so gently. You would have laughed to see how cunningly I thrust it in. Would a madman have been so wise as this? But I found the eye always closed, and so it was impossible to do the work, for it was not the old man who vexed me, but his evil eye. Upon the 8th night, I was more than usually cautious in opening the doors. I fairly chuckled at the idea, and perhaps he heard me, for he moved. He moved on the bed suddenly, as if startled. Now you may think that I drew back, but no. His room was as black as pitch, with a thick darkness, and so I knew that he could not see the opening of the door. The old man sprang up in bed, crying, "Who's there?" I kept quite still and said nothing. Presently, I heard a slight groan, and I knew it was the groan of mortal terror. Although I chuckled at heart. I resolved to open a very, very little crevice in the lantern. So I opened it, until, at length, a simple, dim ray shot from out the crevice and fell full upon the vulture eye. It was open, wide open. Now, I say, there came to my ears a low, dull, quick sound. It was the beating of the old man's heart. It grew quicker and quicker and louder every instant. And now a new anxiety seized me. The sound would be heard by a neighbor. The old man's hour had come. With a loud yell, I threw open the lantern and leaped into the room. He shrieked once only. In an instant, I dragged him to the floor and I pulled the heavy bed over him. I then smiled gaily to find the deed so far done. Yes, he was stone dead. His eye would trouble me no more. If still you think me mad, you will think so no longer when I describe the wise precautions I took for the concealment of the body. First of all, I dismembered the corpse. I cut off the head and arms and the legs. I then took up 3 planks from the flooring of the chamber and deposited all between the scantlings. I then replaced the boards so cleverly, so cunningly, that no human eye, not even his, could have detected anything wrong. There came a knocking at the street door. I went down to open it with a light heart, for what had I now to fear? There entered 3 men, who introduced themselves with perfect suavity as officers of the police. A shriek had been heard by a neighbor during the night. Suspicion of foul play had been aroused. The shriek, I said, was my own in a dream. The old man I mentioned was absent in the country. I took my visitors all over the house. I bade them search and search well. I led them at length to his chamber. I brought chairs into the room and desired them here to rest from their fatigues, while I myself, in the wild audacity of my perfect triumph, placed my own seat upon the very spot beneath which reposed the corpse of the victim. My manner had convinced them I was singularly at ease. They sat, and while I answered cheerily, they chatted of familiar things, but ere long, I felt myself getting pale and wished them gone. I arose and argued about trifles in a high key with violent gesticulations, but the noise steadily increased. Why? Why would they not be gone? Oh God, what could I do? I foamed, I raved, I swore. It grew louder. Was it possible they heard not? No! Almighty God, no, they heard. They suspected, they knew, they were making a mockery of my horror. This I thought, and this I think, but anything was better than this agony. Anything was more tolerable than his derision. I felt that I must scream or die. Villains! I shrieked. Dissemble no more, I admit the deed. Tear up the planks. Here. It is the beating of his hideous heart.
Oh, guys, my angle wasn't set for that. Why are you a ballerina? Oh my god, it looks like Holy Communion for Catholics. Woo! Bitch, die. Insane. Okay.
Does my butt look good?
Oh, I didn't have your butt in it, but I'll scoot back.
I mean, you don't have to do my butt.
It's too late. Alright.
Did you die perfectly, feet crossed, arms crossed?
Don't laugh. It's fine. She still looks dead.